and in today's tutorial happens to be the very first class we have in our course, EDU114, which is all about history of traditional education. Alright, and in today's class we're going to be talking about the history of traditional education, but before then we're going to be dissecting what it means by history itself. Then we move further. With this being said, let's jump straight into it. Okay. So we have Edu 114, Edu 114, and we will be dissecting what it means by history itself. All right, I'll talk about the history of traditional education. Let's talk about history itself. Now, history is not mere storytelling. All right, history is not mere storytelling. Not mere storytelling. Okay, now it is also not mere fabrications. It is also not mere fabrication. Bunch of lies, no, or something like somebody just mix up. It is actually, all right, history is an account of what actually happened in the past. An account of what actually happened. An account of what happened in the past. Okay, it's an account of what happened in the past, which has a link to what is happening at present and can help in planning or projecting for the future. All right, an account of what happened in the past, and this account has link to the present. Okay, which has a link to the present. All right, to the present. Okay, and has a link to what is happening at present and can help. This can help in planning or projecting for the future. It can help, which can help planning / projecting the future. That's how it works. So, as you can see, it's not just mere fabrications or mere storytelling. It is a real account. Okay? It is a documentation, a documentary of what happened, what actually happened in the past, that has a link with the present happenings that can be used to plan and project the future. Okay? Now, in other words, history is about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. History is about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. YTT. History is about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That's a YTT. Now, historical records or accounts are presented in sequential, coherent, consistent, and systematic order. Sequential in the sense that it comes one after the other. Coherent in the sense that what came first is not too different, still in the same line with what came second. All right, they can be linked. All right, which has a link to the future. Don't forget. So coherence in the sense that this happiness can be linked together, okay, and they are consistent and they happen systematically. Okay, so those are the three, the points there. It says here that history records are presented, all right, presented, they are presented. History records are presented. Okay, we have sequentially, all right, sequential, okay, coherent, consistent, all right, and consistent and systematic. So we have that about that. Logical presentation is an important ingredient in history. Logical in the sense that we can marry these happenings together. We can marry these records together because it appeals to human understanding. All right, that's why they said it is a logical presentation when happenings are presented logically in the sense that it appeals to human sense of reasoning. All right, logical, we have representation, logical presentation of an important, all right, logical, okay, logical presentation is an important ingredient, okay, is an important ingredient of history. I beg your pardon. Is an important ingredient of history. Okay, so we have that as that. Now let's continue. We have that as that. Okay, the historic, all right, the historian. Who is the historian now? The historian is the keeper of history. The historian is the one who presents historical record in a sequential, coherent, and consistent and systematic order. That is his job as an historian. He bears in his custody the record of history. Okay, just as the lawyer does that with the law. Okay, now the historian, like I said, he bears the record of history. Miss Agnes, you came late. Good evening. It's about 9 minutes since we started the class already, but it's good to have you here. So at least you made it to the class. Now, as I was saying, the historian tries to present issues, incidents, or events concerning people and place in their unbiased form, right? Like I said, look at it here. It says logical presentation. When there is bias, there is no logic. Okay? Because bias poisons logic. Okay, bias and logic doesn't work together because bias will influence sentiments. Bias will inject one-sided story. All right, and that cancels the logical. That's why it is said here that logical presentation is an important ingredient. So, as an historian, you present the records without bias. All right, as an historian, you present issues, incidents, or events concerning people and place. Historian presents the record without what we call bias. Bias. Okay, so we have that as that. Now let's continue. An historian digs into important area of interest. The board is not clear. Yes, that's because you need to improve your video quality. Miss Agnes, please go click on your screen now. Tap on your screen. Then you see this setting icon that will pop out. That setting icon uses to improve your video quality. Okay? YouTube automatically keeps it on default, which is 144p. So you cannot use 144p to attend classes. You need to improve it to 250 or 350. So tap on the screen right now. All right, you see the setting icon on the base of the video now. So you see where you see video quality, improve it. Take it to 250 or 350. Okay, with that you can see the board clearly. Okay, so let's continue. So, like I said, the historian, okay, digs deep. Because of this bias of the thing, they want to, for you to present the records without bias, for you to present the records. That's why you see all these archaeologists. I follow a lot of them on Facebook, and you can imagine things we see in the movie. They are real. Archaeologists discovering the skeleton of a giant, human, for crying out loud. That is to tell us that there was a time that giants lived among us. Archaeologists discovering mummies with a lot of gold on the skeleton. Discoveries are just unlimited. A lot of things. Okay, so all these discoveries are not on the surface. All these discoveries, they are not on the surface. They do a lot of research. They dig deep. Historians, they dig deep, all right, into important areas of interest. They don't just dig in anyhow. The area of interest, they dig deep. All right, they are never in a hurry. As an historian, discoveries, thousands of years, something worth 200 million years. All right, 100 million years, they will discover it. It doesn't, so discovering things like that, you cannot rush. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, history is an account. Now, like I said earlier, they dig deep. They are not in a hurry. Historians take their time to evaluate necessary information. It's good to have information, but they don't just work with any information. They take their time to evaluate the information. All right, and after getting informations, they evaluate, they analyze, all right, the source of that information, so that they can balance, all right, they can balance and acceptable accounts. It compares and analyzes information and its source so as to come up with a balanced and acceptable account. All right, they strike a balance. They get information, they analyze, they evaluate, and arrive at a balance. All right, strike a balance. An historian, okay, history is an account. Why? Because it aims at a balanced information of true place, all right, places, people, events, and like what I said, they are always ensuring to strike a balance. All right, they always ensure to strike a balance. Now, with that being said, let's quickly let's touch on the sources of history. Okay, what are the sources? There are basically two, all right, there are a lot of sources, all right, to gathering of history, all right, but in the course of this study, we are going to limit it to just two, which are primary and secondary sources. So permit me to erase the board so we can take more points. Miss Agnes, were you able to resolve it? Miss Agnes, were you able to resolve the issue? We have the primary and the secondary. Miss Agnes, it cannot be the same. Did you increase the video quality? Did you change the video quality, Miss Agnes? Did you get it? When you tap on the screen of your phone, you see the icon, the setting icon will be displayed on the phone. When you tap on the setting icon, you will see the setting icon is usually like this, like a cog. Okay, like a cog. When you find this, tap on it, you will see either you see advanced option. All right, when you see advanced option, tap on advanced option, then you can find the video quality there, or directly when you click on this, you will see video quality. Then when you see the video quality, immediately you click on video quality to give you a drop down. I think the default is 144p. That's what YouTube automatically keeps it. That's a default. So for 144p now, I think you see 250, you see 350. So go for 350. With 350 to be crystal clear. Look at it, I can see it from my hand and it's crystal clear. I can see it from my hand here and it's crystal clear. So please, Miss Agnes, so that you don't get to miss out on anything. Okay, Mr. Swayan, it's great to have you on board. Now, like I was saying, there are two sources to history, and basically there are a lot of sources to history, but for the purpose of our study, we are limiting the sources to just two, and they are the primary and the secondary. The primary sources refers to various information about real names of people, places, events gathered by the historian. Click on the quality picture mark. Click on it. Yes. Quality picture, quality video. Click on it. When you click on the quality picture, what was the next option? All right. What was the next option? Mine here just shows directly quality. Mine is on 720 and it's very clear. 720. You can put yours on maybe 350 and the likes. Okay. Now, the primary source, right, of history, as we have it, the primary source of history is said to be when informations are gathered by the historian from somebody or people who has an eyewitness to the incidents. All right, so we have info gathered, all right, directly. Info, that's the default. Miss Agnes, change it from 144p. That 144p is the default. That's why it's not clear. So you need to change it to something above 144p. So, information about places, like I said, discoveries of some archaeologists, they discovered some remains of some giants. I follow them a lot on Facebook and I see a lot of things to discover, all right, directly from the spot. Okay, that is the primary source. When they discover it themselves, directly from the source or from an eyewitness. Okay, according to an eyewitness that was there when it was happening, those are direct source. Now, if the historian gathered the information himself at the time of happening, it's called the primary source, like I said. Awesome, yes, you are welcome. So, anytime you having that issue, okay, it could be network. The moment you've confirmed you've changed it from default 144p, then if it still remains, that means it's network. All right, but anytime you're having that issue, that's usually the problem. Improve the picture or video quality. So we have the primary source could be oral or written. Okay, oral or written. The primary source could be oral or written, and it could also be through videos, internet, or other scientific procedures like the archaeological findings, like I made mention earlier. Now, under the secondary, okay, under the secondary sources, when a historian consults books written by somebody or persons who has somebody who, all right, happens to be an eyewitness, okay, or eyewitnesses, is referring to the secondary, basically just the opposite of the first. Okay, in this case, he's not getting it directly from the source, all right, maybe referring to books, all right, and or books written by an eyewitness. So we have that as that. Now we go straight to concept of education. Okay, the concept of education. Now, how do you define the word education? Well, let's consider the one given for us below. But before then, let's dissect into the etymology of the word education. What is the genesis of the word? The word education is exclusively used. When I say exclusively, I mean none other than, okay, exclusively used for the development of human beings in the following: cognitive, affective, psychomotor, psycho, all right, productive domains. Now let's break all this down. We have exclusively used to develop, exclusively used, all right, for the development of human we have cognitive, affective, psychomotor, psychoproductive, psychoproductive domain. This is a comprehensive breakdown. Comprehensive breakdown. Domains, not domain. There's a S. Domains. Okay? So we have that as that. According to Fafunwa in 1974, Fafunwa said that education is what each generation, according to Fafunwa now, he said education is what each generation gives to its younger ones. Fafunwa in 1974. A generation gives to its younger ones. Which makes them to develop attitude, abilities, skill, and other behavior which are of positive value to the society in which they live. All right. A generation gives to its younger one to make them a product of a positive society. All right. So we need to understand that education is a social service provided worldwide with multiple objectives in mind. A social service provided worldwide with different objectives in mind. Now, the word education is derived from two Latin words. Education. We have two Latin words which are educare and educere. Educare excuse me, Educare and Educare. Educare interprets to man as to what train or form or mold. Train, form, or mold. And we have Educere mean to build, to lead, to develop. Okay, to build. All right, lead or develop. Okay, so we have that as that. To build, to lead, or to develop. And education can also be seen as a means of what? Total development of individual child, means of a means of total development. Definitely there has to be changes as the child develops. So I think on this note, we'll call it a wrap for today. In our next class, we'll take it up from forms of education. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and I believe you've been able to get a thing or two into this class. Please do also send your notes to the appropriate quarters. Thank you very much. Do have a wonderful evening, and look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. Bye bye.